Well, the bunting's just gone up behind me in Downing Street as they gear up for the Jubilee weekend. A stay of execution or perhaps a welcome distraction for Boris Johnson, who's been dogged by rumours of a vote of no confidence over the past couple of days. Another Tory MP has come out today and added his name to the growing list of those publicly distancing themselves from the Prime Minister. Simon Fell told his constituents in Barrow-in-Furness that the Sue Gray report was a slap in the face. He added that once trust is lost, the whole house of cards is at risk of collapse. Now, in his last interview before the Jubilee weekend celebrations kick off, Boris Johnson discovered that he had lost the trust of a new constituency, Mumsnet users.
This is a pretty typical question that sums up the mood on Mumsnet, I'd say. Why should we believe anything you say when it has been proven you're a habitual liar?
Well, first of all, don't agree with the conclusion that Tim, the questioner asked, but or the premise of the question. But look, I think the best way for me to answer that is to say, look at what I get on and deliver, and what I say I'm going to deliver.
Well, some Mumsnet users are obviously pretty unhappy there. But the house of cards, as that MP Simon Fell put it, is still intact. Simon Fell, for one, didn't say that he'd put in a letter of no confidence. And until that dissent that we're seeing is translated into 54 letters, Boris Johnson is safe from a vote. Even if there is a vote, it'll take more than 180 of his own MPs to topple him. And whether the groundswell of anger from constituents is sufficient to bring out those numbers is anyone's guess. What we do know, though, is that 28 MPs have now publicly called on him to resign, but it won't be until after the Jubilee weekend, until MPs back here in Parliament, that will know whether that threshold has been reached.
Amelia Jen. Well, Fraser Nelson, editor of The Spectator, is in the studio with me. So we're in this sort of fake calm for the Jubilee weekend. But this morning, you know, we heard Dominic Raab saying he didn't think there would be a vote of no confidence next week. We've seen Nadine Dorries out today saying this is just a conspiracy by a couple of people. The overwhelming majority of the parliamentary party support Boris Johnson. Are either of those things true?
I'm afraid, well, I doubt there's going to be one next week. There could be. But the overall, I'm afraid to say, that 3/4 of the party are completely silent. They neither support him, nor do they say he should go. Now, that's a pretty big chunk of the party. So that's the support Nadine Dorries talks about simply isn't there. Now, broadly speaking, the rule you can go by is for every one person that says Boris Johnson should go, there'll be about 1.5 letters, right? Do the ratio, and that means about 40 letters. The Tories need 54 letters to trigger a vote of no confidence. Now, there are some who think that that number has almost been arrived, that we could get it on Monday or later, certainly not in recess right now. And if then there'll be a vote of no confidence, and you need about 180 odd votes for Boris Johnson to lose that one. So would there be 180 rebels? Probably not. But if you would get to that stage where a good chunk of your party would be voting against you and say you have to go, then practically it would be difficult for him to carry on.
I mean, practically, if it gets to the point of a vote at all, is that the beginning of the end? I mean, are you a dead man walking once you've got a big chunk of your MPs demanding you go?
It becomes pretty difficult. Boris Johnson is the king of being in dead man walking situations and surviving them. He's over and over again. He has survived the unsurvivable. But a few of the Tory rebels are saying to their colleagues, look, wait until the by-elections coming up. We've got 2 of them. And if the Tories lose them, we're talking not just red walls, one in the north, one in the south. If we lose them both, then it's going to be harder for Boris Johnson to say, look, you might not like me, but I win elections. That's what he's going on right now. I am the winner. None of you guys could win in the way that I did. If he's losing his shine, if confidence in him is falling, then a Tory party that never really liked him much in the first place would probably be less inclined to keep him. And if you're going to have a leadership election, you get it done over the summer, so a new person could be in place by October. In other words, if it's going to be done at all, it should be done now.
Well, I mean, you know, the other factor, of course, is we're in an economic emergency. So the government needs to be acting, and a government that is arguing over its leader will struggle. So I suppose the dilemma is, do you move quickly and get rid of him so that you can put somebody else in who can get a grip of the situation, or do you let him take all the blame and then swap leader?
Well, this is the dilemma. Of course, quickly isn't an option because the Tory system is a very lengthy system. You'd have several weeks where you'd have Boris Johnson carrying on even though he's on his way out. It would be a humiliation. It would do terrible damage to the Tory reputation for competence. I mean, good luck to any Tory who wants to say at the next election, order with the Tories, chaos with Labour. They would look like very much like the party of chaos if they go through with a leadership election in the middle of the summer with the Ukraine war going on as well. But of course, quite a few Tories, well, the ones I've spoken to who want him gone, think that their seats will be gone anyway if he's there as Prime Minister, and that they need somebody else to save their own seat and to save the party. And then again, a few Tories think the next election is lost no matter what.
Well, I mean, yes, exactly. So his whole argument of I've never lost an election, I'm the winner, that's no longer washing with his own party?
It's harder to do now his popularity has fallen so much. But then again, we'll see with these two by-elections. If they go very badly for him, it'll be even harder for him to make that argument. I mean, but he has previously got out of trouble this way, Wakefield and other places. So we'll see just how those two by-elections go, because that is his main currency with this party.
Right. So are campaigns being quietly organised?
Well, yes, but they're not very efficient. What we're getting now is just random people who aren't really coordinating with anybody else. You're getting day after day another Tory will pop up and saying, look, I've had enough of this guy. And when you try to find out, is this David Davis behind this? Is this Ben Wallace's faction? Because Ben Wallace is a favourite amongst Tory members. Then you find out, no, there isn't any central organisation here. This is just a growing number of Tory MPs who can't take it anymore.
I mean, candidates. I mean, are there camps quietly being organised?
Right now, there are people who, for example, would like Liz Truss to be leader and who are going around. I'm not saying she's organising it, but there are the people who are doing it on her behalf who are basically canvassing opinions. So you're starting to see these little constellations. But as soon as they emerge, that's a pretty bad look. Like Ben Wallace, for example, all eyes are on him because right now he's the Tory party member's favourite. So anything he does that looks like grandstanding will go down very badly. So they need to be very careful at this stage. But to be honest, since Rishi Sunak's fall from grace, he was always the most likely successor. And since the non-dom debacle and also the windfall tax last week, he doesn't look anywhere near as likely as he did before. And that's what's different. It isn't really from Boris to Rishi, as it might have been a few months ago. This would be anybody's guess. It could be Jeremy Hunt, Nadhim Zahawi, the Education Secretary. Anybody could emerge. We saw when Theresa May became Prime Minister, nobody would have really thought she was the most likely candidate when they went into that election. But Tory leadership elections tend to have a Tarantino-esque quality to them. Lots of people tend to get politically shot down, and the last man standing walks to number 10.